She's an actor, she's a producer, she's a director. Julia and I like to call her Hollywood royalty because indeed she is. Dakota Johnson, welcome to the show.
Thank you. That was nice.
For anybody the what?
That was really nice.
Oh, do you feel like Hollywood royalty? Usually you kind of laughed when I said that.
No, I definitely don't.
What if you did?
Yeah. What if I was like, yeah, thank you so much. That's the most accurate description of me.
So The Lost Daughter, I think probably a lot of people have seen it, but if they haven't, obviously this is Maggie Gyllenhaal. It's her feature directing debut, and it's just a brilliant movie it's you and Olivia Colman. And can you tell us a little bit about the setup of the movie, but also who Nina is, the character that you play?
Yeah. So the movie is based on Elena Ferrante's novel, The Lost Daughter. And it's about a woman who goes on a vacation and is sort of confronted with these like ghosts of her past by, she becomes sort of obsessed with this young mother on the beach. And it's kind of about the pretty complicated and intricate feelings surrounding motherhood and womanhood. And I play Nina, the woman on the beach that Olivia's character becomes obsessed with, obviously.
You're royalty.
Yeah, because Hollywood royalty. So, and that's the movie.
What's also really interesting about it is because we slowly see the character of Leda, played by Olivia Colman, becoming really just enamored with you and your daughter on the beach. But there's also these interspersed scenes of a flashback of this younger Leda, like struggling to adapt to being a mother and the demands of it, and still trying to focus on her own career. And it is really an interesting dynamic between your character and Olivia Colman's, and we see so much of the two interacting slowly, but then to the point where it becomes a really intense relationship, considering they're very distant. They don't really know each other in any way.
And so curious about how Maggie described how she wanted you two to interact. I mean, there's so many close-ups, and we just see a lot of your faces of sometimes it looks like you pity Olivia Colman, sometimes that you think she pities you, or you're angry at her, or you're not. I mean, and it's all played out. And so I'm curious how Maggie kind of directed you two in your intimate moments together.
That's such a good question. I think so. The way that there wasn't extensive rehearsal time with each other. Like Olivia and I didn't discuss how we were going to be interacting in the first 20 minutes of the film. But the way that Maggie, like Nina doesn't speak for the first 20, 30 minutes. And the way that Maggie shot it was almost like, she'll tell you this, but like, not that she was being objectified, that Nina was being objectified, but that she was being studied. And there is this sort of like, she was being objectified, but not in a lecherous way, almost like she was being studied. And Maggie talks about her influences of like Antonioni and how he would shoot Monica Vitti. And there's just these like women that you're like, oh my God, I idolize. I want to be her and know her. And with Nina, you feel that for a minute, but then there's also the dynamic that I think exists between everyone really, where you can have like millions of conversations without ever saying an actual word. And that happens between the two of them. And I loved it because usually in a script, if you see the stage direction and it's like, Leda looks at Nina, you just like, I glance over it and I'm like, okay, whatever. But in this, it's a real moment that stays with you, these tiny little moments. And it could mean anything. At a certain point, you're like, is she going to kill her, or are they going to have sex? Or are they going to kiss?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just the way that you never really know what can occur between two people, especially when they recognize a pain and a struggle and a drowning in each other. I think Nina is like, I want to be like that woman, and also, can you save me? And then Leda's like, oh God, you poor thing, but also like, fuck off.
Did that have any bearing on your performance? Because one of the most, there are really two movies this year that really keep you off balance because you're not sure who's dangerous and who's not. And one is The Lost Daughter, and the other is The Power of the Dog. And it's really interesting that the two of them came out in the same year. They're very different movies, but with your character, because she is married to the mob. I mean, you kind of gather that in the beginning, that there's something maybe a little bit dangerous about this family. And like you said, you don't know if your character is going to exact some terrible retribution or something on Olivia Colman. And does the idea that the audience doesn't know if you might be dangerous play into your performance at all? Or are you just telling yourself something totally different?
That's an interesting, I guess there's a part of Nina that I was like, she will punch you in the face if you provoke her. I would never punch somebody in the face. Me as Dakota, but Nina would. So maybe that was part of the appeal, or part of the mystery of her. I mean, she stabs her in the end, so I don't know.
Yeah, she does. But I mean, it's also, anyway, I don't want to give too much away about the ending, but yeah, there's an act.
Well, I just gave away the whole ending. What do you mean too much away? I just did that.
Well, we know something. No, we know from the beginning something bad has happened. But anyway, yes, what leads up to that and all that is a real mystery. But yes, there is an act of violence, and you know that it happens, and that's partially what keeps you so off balance through the entire movie, because you know that clearly
something bad's going to happen.
Something.
Yeah.
Did you know Olivia Colman before doing the movie?
No, I met her when I knew I was going to make the movie. I met her really briefly at a party, and I was so nervous to speak to her, but then I got to know her very quickly and deeply, and I love her. I love her so much. She's really a magnificent creature.
I was going to say, I love the dynamic in the movie between your character of Nina and her sister-in-law, Callie, who, seem like cut from the same cloth a little bit, but they're sister-in-laws. And so there's also some weird energy there as well. And she brings up multiple times how she's pregnant with her first, but kind of constantly tries to mother you throughout the movie and kind of push what she thinks is right for her niece in many ways. And I'm so curious about your absorption of their relationship.
I found it really funny. I found that relationship dynamic almost like from a comedy, where they love like Nina would kill somebody for her, but she also hates her. She doesn't want to spend any actual time with her, but if you fuck with her, she'll kill you. You know what I mean? It's that kind of, it's like that family dynamic that makes no logical sense. But.
And what about Maggie? Did you know her well were you friends before you did the movie?
No, I met Maggie when I had read the script and I wanted to meet with her. So I went in and we had lunch in New York, and then I went back to New York a few weeks later and read with her. And no, I hadn't met her. Oh no, actually that's not true. I totally had met her. We met at a party. I'm meeting everybody at parties. I sound like a real party girl, but I'm not. It's like only Olivia Colman and Maggie that I've met. And it was the night that Maggie won. I've only been to 2 parties, and it was those people that I met. It was the night that she won a Golden Globe, I think, and I met her, and she was lovely. And then I worked with Peter on Black Mass, but not together, but on the press tour, we saw each other. So I had like been around her. But I had never had a meaningful conversation until we had lunch.
We were talking because Dakota likes to call herself Hollywood royalty, and we were going along with it. Not really. We were talking about Dakota's Hollywood royalty. But did you spend a lot of time on sets when you were little? Like how much a part of your childhood and adolescence was, the movie business, the entertainment business?
Like 100% of it.
That's what I was hoping to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I went to school sometimes. But I grew up on set. My parents, they split up when I was 6, and then my mom was married to Antonio Banderas, my stepfather, for like 20 years, and I would travel between them both. It was like 2 weeks and 2 weeks between parents, and they were always on location somewhere. So it'd be like San Francisco and then Budapest and then Spain and like Cincinnati. It was pretty random. But for a while, I had a tutor that would teach me and my brother wherever we were, and then I was enrolled in a lot of schools. And then but yeah, my whole life was around movies, film sets.
Was there a favorite or one that was particularly memorable for you?
I think well, one of the Crazy in Alabama was actually directed by my stepfather, and I got to be in it, and my mom was in it, and so was my little sister. So it was like really fun to be able to finally be a part of it, and not just be there. But I loved visiting set. I was really obsessed with it. And then when my dad was making Nash Bridges, that show went on for 7 years. So I got to know the crew really well, and I knew all the locations really well, and I had my birthday party on the stage. I think it was my 10th birthday party, and I had the party on the sound stage. We ate pizza and watched Grease in a screening room. It was really dark.
No wonder you fell in love with making movies.
Yeah.
Were your parents like, obviously this is what's going to happen? Like, even allowing you to be or wanting you to be in Crazy in Alabama, were they like, oh, this is obviously what you're destined to do? Or did they try and hold you back a little bit and say, no, well, maybe you want to go to college, or maybe you want to try and, I don't know, ride horses or something? Or they like, no, we get it. You've literally grown up on set. Just do it.
Well, I also grew up riding horses, so I can do that. Oh. But yeah, they didn't want me to be in the industry. They didn't. I remember being like 16 and wanting to start acting, and they didn't let me. And my dad really wanted me to go to college, and I applied to one college, and I didn't really want to go there. I wanted to work and I wanted to travel, and so then I did. But he did also cut me off if I didn't. He said he was going to cut me off if I didn't go to college, and he surely did. So yeah, you should have asked him about that when he was on the show.
Yeah, exactly. Next time.
He's mentioned it in the press before, and he's like really proud of it.
Is that how you remember it?
No, not really. I remember one time having like $47 in my bank account and not being able to buy groceries, like getting, my card declined and things like that, and just being like, is this really what I want? But it was really what I wanted.
What was the thing, Dakota, that changed it for you? What was the turning point in your career where you started making money and thought, okay, I can do this. This is where we're headed.
I have like huge dreams and sort of a really nerdy ambition, like nerdy focus. And I think when I started doing this television show called Ben and Kate, that's when I was like, oh, I can do this for sure, because it was crazy hours. It was crazy amounts of pages, and I loved it, like loved it more than anything. And I lived at Fox Studios, and it was the best, and I just wanted to do it for forever. And then I got, started, like, obviously 50 Shades was a whole different ball game, but still I was like, wow, this is really crazy, but here I go.
Well, I love some of the films that you've done with Luca Guadagnino, who directed you in A Bigger Splash, and then of course the remake of Suspiria, which was brilliant and wonderful. And I'm so curious what your working relationship has been like with him, and at what point was it during A Bigger Splash that he said, I'm thinking Suspiria? I'm wondering how that kind of happened.
Yeah. So I met Luca when I was 24, and I was on. I was like, it was the summer before 50 Shades was going to come out, and I was like, I'm just gonna go and have just like a summer. So my really good friend at the time was married to the drummer of the Black Keys, and I went on tour with them. And I was on a tour bus in the middle of literally a field in like France. We were in Nîmes, I think. And I got a call saying that Luca wanted to meet me the next day, or like in as soon as possible, in Crema for A Bigger Splash, which is a script that I had read a long time before, but they cast somebody else and she fell out. And so I like figured out how to get out of this field and get to Crema. And I met with Luca and I went there just for the day. And then I went like back to London, where I was kind of living out of a hotel room. And I just like fell in deep artistic love with him. And then, yes, when we were on set in Pantelleria, he and Tilda kind of came over and were like, we're going to make Suspiria, and can you come with us? And I was like, forever. I'm in forever. Literally anything he asked me to do, I would do it. Except recently he asked me to do a short film with him, like a Christmas film, and I actually couldn't. I would have, but I couldn't.
You're also a lot of the stuff that you have coming up. You're also producing. So clearly, producing is something that you're really focused on right now as well. In addition, do you like that part of it? Clearly, you do.
I do because a lot of the time, in my experience, I sign on to make a movie, and then it turns into something completely different. And it's hard as an artist. It's really hard to be like a person who unzips, like I'll unzip my heart and I'll put it in this project, and then that's it. That's the end of my participation. And that sometimes is amazing, because the people that I am working with are just like with Maggie. She held our work, and she really appreciated it, and she saw what we were doing, and kept it safe, and really wanted to make the best version of our performances. And sometimes, especially with the way that the studio systems work, and like what is popular and what is doing well, and what, like, whatever has the most viewers and whatever it is, studios will change your work in the aftermath, and it's really hard. And I'm obsessed with movies, and I really want to be involved into the final moment, till right until it comes out into the theater for everyone to see. And so starting to produce has been so gratifying in that way. We just got 2 movies into Sundance, and my DNA is in them, and it's really gratifying in a way that I haven't really experienced before in film. Like I was always kind of bumping up against something, feeling like God, I wish I could have been in the edit, and said, oh, how about this, or what about this scene that is gone now, like I know it's probably annoying of me as an actor to most other people, but that's fine.
Congratulations. What are the 2 movies in Sundance?
One of them is called Am I Okay, that Tig Notaro and Stephanie Allen directed, and the other one is called Cha Cha Real Smooth, that Cooper Rife directed, and we produced both of them, and I starred in both of them.
And Lauren Pomerantz, who's a great writer, like on the rise, did Am I Okay also.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what else is coming? What are you working on right now?
Right now, Tea Time stuff. That's my company, Tea Time. But we're hopefully going to shoot a film in the next few months called Daddy-O, with me and Sean Penn. And Christy Hall, who's an amazing writer, is directing, and she wrote it. And then I have Persuasion coming out sometime this year.
And what about directing? I know you did the Cry 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 Coldplay video, didn't you?
I did.
And Chris Martin's incredibly difficult, so that was good training.
I know, what a diva.
But are you gonna is directing a thing that you want to get into at some point?
I think that I would like to direct, but it is such a specific thing for me. I'm not gonna just plop myself on something just to direct it. I really care and I want it to be good, and I still feel like I'm learning. Every time I'm on a new set, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing at all. I feel so inadequate. And then I get really inspired and I'm like, oh my God, that would be an amazing movie or short or whatever. But I don't want to fuck something up because I'm not ready. You know what I mean? I don't think that I'm oh, great, I'm an amazing person, I'm an amazing director, I'm just going to do that. But one day, if that happened and it felt totally right across the board and I felt totally capable, then I would do it.
Dakota Johnson, thank you so much for being here. We promise next time Don Johnson is here, we will hold him to task for cutting you off.
We'll drag him.
Promise.
I
drag him to filth. Anyway, the Lost Daughter is in theaters and it's on Netflix and it's so great. And Dakota Johnson, congratulations on everything. Congratulations on Sundance as well.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you again, Dakota Johnson.